Those Who Serve, presented by Alpha-Stim. Take charge of anxiety, insomnia, and pain with Alpha-Stim. More information at alpha-stim.com. And with generous support from Danny Irwin.
Hello, I'm Terry McGuire, host of Those Who Serve. On this show, I'll have Harold Pharis, who is the outgoing and interim director for VA WNY Healthcare System, and also Christopher Ramnauth, who is a mental health outreach coordinator, also from Veterans Affairs. As you know, September is Suicide Prevention Month. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hello, I'm Terry McGuire with Those Who Serve, and today I'm with VA WNY Healthcare System's Interim Executive Director, Mr. Brent Pharis. And Mr. Pharis is from Kentucky. From what I understand, he's a former Army Master Sergeant and medic, Purple Heart recipient, and has great credentials. So, sir, welcome to Those Who Serve, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. I understand, despite what we hear in the media about different hiring and this and that, the VA has some critical needs right now in terms of personnel. Can you explain a little bit what you're looking for at the VA?
Sure. If people are coming around the campuses, our major campuses here in Buffalo or Batavia, you'll see new signage and flyers and everything. We are hiring across the spectrum, obviously with a heavy focus on nursing, RNs, nursing assistants, LPNs, pharmacy, those wraparound support services. So we're recruiting kind of across the board. I will say some of our critical, most intense vacancies we're focused on is in our community living center and getting those nursing staff and provider staff in place to ensure we have proper staffing levels. And additionally, the CLC supports the flow of veterans through the hospital.
Yeah, I understand. We have some great long-term care options for veterans, especially in Batavia.
Yep.
And we have a great facilities out as far east as Canandaigua and beyond. So it's one of the great benefits of being connected to VA healthcare. So phenomenal. Any other critical or very important needs here at the facility?
Well, we are always looking for specialty providers. Yep. So I will say nationally, locally and nationally, critical needs in anesthesiology. Sometimes, I mean, we think about it, but sometimes we forget you have to have all the critical players in place in order to be a productive operating room and surgical. VA Western New York operates one of the most productive ORs in VISN 2. And so I would say anyone working in anesthesiology we would want to talk to.
Yeah, and as far as nursing, again, I understand that one of the great benefits of being a nurse with the VA is not only some great benefits, time off. There's some other things that we can embellish upon to say, hey, this is a great environment for nursing.
Sure. We look across based on priority and need. There are incentives applied to certain positions, not all positions. We also do, within our portfolio, we have educational EDRP, which is educational reimbursement. So if the people are coming in with a student debt, there is an opportunity. Again, that's not applied to all positions, but it's targeted based on priority. And then mostly what I have found working with nursing through the VA and multiple VA systems is the mission and the ability to provide their discipline to veterans, what I call America's heroes, is when they first start, they see the tangibles like incentives or education, but in the long term, most of our staff love serving veterans.
Outstanding. If there's a number or some point of contact we can reach to find out about those clinical needs that you have, how would we get in contact with you?
So what I would say is Joe is always a great point of reference as we are...
Our Joe Sarziniak?
Yeah, absolutely. As we are planning employment job fairs at the Batavia campus and then looking at other opportunities. I will also say, although not an acclaimed website from everybody that's used it, but usajobs.gov lists, and you have a search menu. You can search by discipline and you can search by location. It lists all of our vacancies and our openings, and that is actually the primary driver for application and employment.
Outstanding, great. Well, we'll certainly flash that on
Yeah.
our screen. But switching gears a little bit, this is a great facility in many different ways. I know there's a lot of things happening here at our facilities that are coming up very, very rapidly. Is there things that you would want veterans to know about the VA here that they might not know?
I would say yes. I think I've covered our entire catchment area in my first 60 days. And
by the way, just to let everyone know, our catchment area is the 8-county area of Western New York, from Niagara County right down to Allegheny, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua County.
Absolutely. I've gotten a chance to see Western New York. What I would say is, depending on where veterans are engaging us, like they may be engaging us just simply in a primary care or a mental health capacity and at one of our community-based outpatient clinics. Now, everyone knows that this is a fully complex healthcare system offering specialties from cardiothoracic surgery all the way to our major campus in Batavia, where we are one of only 5 that have a targeted focused PTSD domiciliary for male and female veterans. They're in a swath in between. We are a complex healthcare system focused on delivering care for whatever the needs of our veteran, and should we not offer it internally, we have a constant partnership with our communities and our community partners, as well as our other VAs, because we are an integrated healthcare system, to ensure veterans are getting the care that they need in what we call at the right place at the right time that is best fit.
Right. And as a patient here, I really enjoy the fact that I can have 95% or more of my health care at one place, and it saves on copays, and it's just so convenient. I mean, it's an amazing facility. To me, I think it's everything you could hope for as a veteran in my terms.
Well, and we've had a very concentrated focus, and we continue that. If you remember the days early on where, you had your, what I call the tower, or, the big building, that's where specialty was, and you only had primary care, maybe mental health at your community outpatient clinics, and it required the veteran to drive. We have a reverse ideology that is going on right now, and it's driven by demand, where we are reversing that and figuring out where we can push specialty and subspecialty care out to our veterans, whether it through virtual capabilities or face-to-face and in person. I just got to celebrate on another interview where we were talking about, we were one of the recent recipients of the mobile prosthetics and orthotics van. It is a van that allows us to transverse our entire catchment area. Not only can they make adjustments and issue, but they can also fabricate artificial limbs and everything at where the veteran is, rather than them having to drive all the way maybe to our major campus at Batavia or our campus here in Buffalo.
Well, that has to be a huge, huge advantage.
Absolutely.
As you know, access to care is one of the most difficult things, especially for our rural veterans that come in. So, to load them up on a van, bring them in, and then return them, that's quite a chore.
Actually, the van
goes to them now.
Goes to
Yes.
them and fabricates in the van.
Yep.
So you'll sometimes see the van at our community-based clinic. I have to give a big shout out to our our Office of Rural Health. They partnered with us in the grant. We wrote the grant, and then they funded it for 3 years. That allows us to give us the opportunity to operationalize it, make it productive, make it meet the needs of the veteran, and then after 3 years, it belongs to us. They even funded the staffing for it. So it's been a great benefit. We're doing the ribbon cutting coming up soon, but it's already been out to the clinics and seeing veterans already.
Wow, that is amazing. That is really great to bring care to the veteran.
Yep.
But as far as enrollment and eligibility, I know that sometimes there's always some confusion whether veterans are eligible based on their status, if they're reserve, guard, active duty. I always tell people it's like a village. Not every household is the same, and they have different care needs, different statuses. So can you tell us a little bit about how we would go about finding those that are eligible, and how would they enroll at VA Western New York Healthcare System?
So I always say there are a couple of things about eligibility that I think veterans, it's critical for them to know. Sometimes a veteran will do 2, 3, 4 years, they'll get out, they'll be in their early 20s, and if you remember, being in your early 20s, you're invincible, you don't need anything. Or you applied, and at that time there were aspects that maybe rendered you ineligible. As we age and the evolution of our life and conditions change, I would encourage veterans to understand that one attempt at enrollment, maybe at an early age, is not indicative of never enrollment. And so there is an online version. There is a va.gov website where you can type in enrollment, and it will walk you through the 10EZ form and be able to fill that out and submit it online. Or we understand some people want to be able to sit with somebody face to face and everything. And so at each one of our community out-based clinics, staff are able to help them fill out the 10EZ form, take it, fax it, or get it up here to us, scan it and send it to us here, and we enroll them. Or the veterans can come on site here to our enrollment office and actually sit with a benefits advisor and everything and get enrolled.
Gotcha. Well, very good. I understand, again, va.gov is a very good website, and also our local number for our Veterans Service Center, 716-862-8829. That's 862-8829. Sir, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you coming out today and explaining more about our VA healthcare and our hard-earned benefits. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I'm a medical doctor and I like solving problems. Why are you short of breath? Why are you having chest pain? I love that, but also the relationships that are built. When I first started working here, it was part of a loan repayment program, and after I satisfied my 5 years, I did not want to leave. Going to the HR side of things, our health insurance is amazing. Our retirement benefits are amazing. There's a great quality of life balance. The 7-on, 7-off shift is great. You also get the wonderful feeling of we're helping our nation's heroes. I go home and I'm like, I saw a World War II vet today. You can't get that anywhere else.
For more information, visit www.vacareers.va.gov.
Welcome back to Those Who Serve. I'm Terry McGuire, and I'm here with Christopher Ramnauth, who will explain his title and what he does for suicide prevention here in Western New York and our veterans at VA Western New York Healthcare System and beyond. Christopher, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your title and what you do here at the VA.
So here at VA Western New York, I am the Community Engagement and Partnership Coordinator for Suicide Prevention. And my focus is to focus on community-based interventions in Western New York. And I'm a part of many coalitions in the community and many trainings that I do in the community that are all focused on suicide prevention.
Yeah, and talking about suicide in general in the country, we know the veterans as a subset have a bit higher rate than the general population, but all in all, what can you tell us about suicide prevention in terms of the rates that we're experiencing now and what we can do to help maybe look out for the signs of suicide among our friends and our veterans?
Like I said, I'm in the community a lot, and I table at a lot of community events. And oftentimes when veterans or any community members go by my table and they see that I'm tabling for suicide prevention, sometimes they say, it's not me, that's not me. But then I always come back and I tell them that it may not be you, but it could be a friend, a family member, someone you care for and you love. And in essence, suicide is everyone's business. And if I can give anyone any message, is that is the main message that I want to get across, is that we all have a part to play in preventing suicide in our community, and especially here in Western New York. So whenever someone says that, my attempt is to empower them to connect with me and then connect with their loved ones back at home.
What would be some of the signs that we should be looking out for?
The signs can range, so anyone that, I'm a clinical social worker, so anyone that comes into my office, their risks and protective factors and their warning signs are very unique to them. But some commonly seen warning signs, that could be an increase in anxiety, agitation, mood swings, maybe even sleep issues, impulse control. It could be many different things that are associated with post-traumatic stress, that are associated with warning signs. And what I always tell community members and loved ones is trust your gut. So when you're noticing these warning signs, sometimes it's best to ask the question directly. Are you thinking about killing yourself? A very direct question when you're noticing these warning signs with your loved ones. And to ask that question immediately and to not waste any time. Because if they say yes, that can lead to a very, very important conversation with their loved one that could potentially last for as long as they need it to last before they can get them the help that they deserve.
There's some other community resources that you engage with and do outreach with. Can you explain a few of those that you have a great relationship with to help veterans?
Yeah, so like I said, for my position, I am embedded into the community. So I cover from my role Erie County, parts of Niagara County, and the Southern Tier. And I have a colleague, her name is Sarah Andrew, who has the same position as me, and she covers Genesee, Orleans, and Wyoming. And a lot of people don't know this, but every single county in Western New York has a suicide prevention coalition. And the big piece of my role is to be a seat at the table at those coalitions and to provide that VA veteran voice to these coalitions. So a lot of people don't know that. So when I meet with community providers and veterans in the community, I say to them, you should be on these coalitions. You should be a seat at the table. You deserve to be at the table. So when the community is talking about many different efforts, let's say for children or for civilians, my job is to make sure that they're not forgetting about our veteran community too.
So if you're a veteran or a family member or just a friend of someone that might be at risk, how would we go about helping them? What kind of resources can we call or use to address the issues?
One of our best resources, and I'm sure many of your listeners and watchers know about this resource, but it's 988. 988 is the national lifeline. And if you press 1, you get to the Veterans Crisis Line. Every single time that I table in the community or I go to a training, that is the main resource that I'm going to provide to any community member. So any veteran, service member, or family member or friend can call if they're concerned about a veteran in their lives. And you can call, you can text, you can also chat on the website. And every single time someone reaches out to the Veterans Crisis Line in any way, they get referred to our great and amazing suicide prevention clinical team here. We have a great team that talks daily about the veterans that they need to reach out to or that they're concerned about or that anyone is concerned about.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that if you're an enrolled veteran and you're having issues and you're receiving counseling here through the VA, there's a vast reduction in the rates of suicide. Can you address that a little bit?
Absolutely. So every year the VA comes out with an annual report. So the last report, the 2024 Suicide Prevention Annual Report, the number was 18 veterans a day died by suicide. And out of those, that 18, 10 were not connected with VA care, but 7 were.
Wow.
7 to 8 were connected with VA care. So it is imperative that when we go out into the community, we find where these veterans are, and we, try to connect them with VA care, or we meet them where they're at. That's why oftentimes I do go out in the community and I do provide trainings, important trainings for suicide prevention to many community providers. So if anyone is listening to this and you're part of an agency and you see veterans that come through your door and you think you could benefit from trainings and have myself or my colleagues come out, we would love to do that.
So Chris, just to summarize, the bottom line is if you see someone that you think is in distress, ask them the right question. Ask them if they're thinking of hurting themselves. And number two, 988 press
Yes.
1 goes to the National Call Center.
Yes.
988 press 1. And that call center is right here in Western
Yes, it is.
Central New York in Canandaigua. So, and we have some other contracted outreaches here. So, but I just want to say thank you again for all the things that you've done for veterans. I know you work really hard out there in my past dealings with the VA, and just want to say thank you for what you do for veterans, and please continue your mission because it's really needed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, I'm Terry McGuire, host of Those Who Serve. Next month, we're going to have Rear Admiral Worth and his wife Stacy. Both are Grand Island natives, and Admiral Worth is a submariner. You're going to love his story. We will also feature a couple of interviews with 2 docents who will be actively recruiting for new docents aboard the ships at the Naval Park. That includes the USS The Little Rock, the USS The Sullivans, and the USS The Croaker. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy our next show in October on Those Who Serve.
Those Who Serve, presented by Alpha-Stim. Take charge of anxiety, insomnia, and pain with Alpha-Stim. More information at alpha-stim.com. And with generous support from Danny Irwin.